Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the problem with our education system. So, when it comes to what exactly the problem with our education system is, some people say this, some people say that, some people say this, some people say that. But the honest truth about it, when it comes to the problem with it, is simply down to the fact that it's not hands on. Okay? That is the truth of the matter. Okay, so that is the truth of the matter when it comes to the problem with our education system. So now the question, of course, that obviously is going to come up is why exactly is not having hands-on education, a problem? Or more likely, in other words, to simplify it, okay, what is so great about hands-on education? Well, the simple truth of the matter when it comes to what makes hands-on education so great is that it actually gives people the ability to experience things, okay? In other words, get actual experience doing it, okay? Because the truth of the matter about our education system, is that the truth about it is that we spend more time, even for skills that are definitely hands on, whether it could be obviously things like drawing, in other words, art or music. Another one definitely could be chemistry, even like engineering, all that type of stuff, yada, yada, yada. You get the point, okay? Instead of actually putting that time into actually practicing um you know the skills that we're supposed to actually, of course, learn, which the best way to learn those skills is to actually do it. Like, for example, let's do something like art. Let's, or I should say, mention something like art. Okay, when you're working on something like art, for that matter, to be quite blunt and honest with you, the truth of the matter, in all honesty, um for crying out loud, why am I going to a class, okay, you know, um, and just simply, literally just being there just to um read, and not just read information from a book, but answer still stupid questions that don't matter. Like, like when you go to these classes, okay, a lot of times you just waste your time just reading and writing things, when the main focus of it, of course, is supposed to be drawing, which is so fucking stupid, like you're telling me I'm just gonna go to a class and I'm gonna be like reading like 5, 10 pages of work, from the booklet, obviously the school booklet, and I'm just gonna supposed to answer questions like, oh, what year was this was this artist born, or this and that, instead of actually drawing. Like, make that make sense, okay? And that's the truth of the matter. And obviously, whether it's things like art or more important skills, the truth of the matter is, you know, you absolutely need to have hands-on experience, because the reason why it's important is that it's important because, first and foremost, it builds confidence in individuals, which is the most important thing, okay? It builds confidence in the individual to realize, what, I can actually do this. I can actually, for example, draw. Or more importantly, for other skills that are, of course, are more important, like if I'm studying medicine or chemistry or like engineering and stuff, I can actually do those things that, of course, are most important for human survival. Things like art and music and stuff are good. It makes life actually enjoyable, but those are secondary, okay? The most important skills, of course, all that we really need for our survival, like technology, you know, medicine, and even farming, all that stuff, the truth of the matter is, those are things that are necessities. And the truth of the matter is, when you have people who are confident, no surprise, you actually have a greater ability for people to actually be willing to pursue that skill and continue on with it, instead of just simply giving up and saying, oh, I don't get this, or this is boring, or it's too hard, or all that type of stuff. It builds confidence in individuals, so they're more driven to continue on. Because if you want somebody to do a skill, you have to encourage confidence. The more you encourage confidence, the more likely people are actually going to be consistent and continue on with things. And that's the honest truth of the matter, okay? So confidence obviously is the most important thing. Another one, of course, is actually making sure that they actually know how to do what they're doing. So like when they actually have to go to the job, that they pick, if they decide to pick that career, whatever it is, whether it's art, music, and even most important skills of all, like technology and all that type of shit, whatever you want it to fucking be, okay? That is the truth of the matter, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? All that type of shit, to put it bluntly, okay? Anything you want to do, okay? The truth of the matter is, if I'm gonna pick a job, obviously I'm gonna want to make sure that I actually know how to do it, okay? I actually know what to do, and I'm not just gonna go in there and I'm just gonna be standing there and going like, okay, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Just like if you're taking up a job as a car mechanic, it obviously, you know, is important you get straight to doing the work. You're not just going to spend your time just standing there going like, okay, well, I know that, maybe this is what's causing a problem and blah, 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 blah. No, people are going to want you. Okay, can you start working on actually fixing the car? That's what I'm trying to say. And a lot of people do these high education courses and all this type of stuff in school, like university, and not even just high education, like in terms of university and college, but the highest quality. And they go in these places and they're just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And that's very problematic. When you encourage people to just get hands on fucking work done, it just makes everything easier. Okay. They'll still have issues because, of course, they're still going to be, of course, wondering, okay, what exactly am I supposed to do? Because there's a difference between doing something on paper and doing things in real life, but it still won't be as bad. Okay. Because at least you kind of know what you have to do. Just like if you take up a job as, like, for example, an artist. Okay. Easy example. Okay, I might still have a bit of an issue because I'm a bit nervous actually, like drawing maybe in a certain period of time, but at least I know how to draw. And that's what I'm trying to say here, for that matter. That's exactly what I'm trying to get across here, for that matter. Okay. So, in short, absolutely, undeniably, yes, you definitely want to um, have hands-on work. Okay. And that is the truth of the matter. And that's why our education system is failing, is failing, for that matter, because a lot of people do these jobs, and they're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but they went to school and they had all this information written down for them. And that's the honest truth of the matter. So in short, that's our problem with our education system. It does not encourage hands-on work, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, obviously the question is going to be, wouldn't hands-on work be too difficult? Not necessarily. You can start off with simple prompts, even for something like engineering, like working with technology, like maybe it could be like fixing cars or like creating spaceships. Even if you want to do that, the quicker you know you can just get started, you will not only realize it's not as hard as you think it is, it's just genuinely something, for that matter, of course, depending on the difficulty level of the thing you're given, is something you can do. You might have something like, for example, maybe like if you're taking up like a electronic job or any job, you have a very simple prompt. Like maybe you might say, okay, like, let's just use cars as an example. Okay, this car is not working, and they tell you, okay, what exactly is causing a problem here? It's not working, and obviously the amount of things you have to focus on is very small, limited. You just realize, okay, it's not working, but I realize it's not working because one of the main wires that needs to be used is not put in. It's something like that. Or maybe when it comes to chemistry, you might say, for example, okay, if I want to create this chemical, I have to put these two chemicals together, in this particular amount. Or another example could be when it comes to medicine. Okay, if you're taking that one up, okay, for it to work, I have to to do this medicine shit properly. Okay, to be quite blunt and honest with you, all I have to really do, to feed this person, at least this fictional person, maybe through some video game or something, some simulator or something, whatever, you get the point. Um, you know, I have to measure like how big he is so I can give the right recommended dose. And he's like 6 feet tall, and the average dose for someone who maybe weighs, like, for example, maybe this much, might be this particular amount of stuff. So it's like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can get started with hands-on practice for any skill, even the most hardest skills as soon as possible. Okay. And the truth of the matter is, the school system doesn't do that because the school system is dumb, and they're not just dumb, they're outdated and just simply straight up, corrupt. Okay. But the truth of the matter is, in the end of the day, absolutely hands-on work is the best way to learn, because it not only teaches you like how to actually do the stuff without having to take the same course for God knows how long, and you're still like, okay, I don't know how to actually do the stuff, I just answer the questions. It also, most importantly of all, builds confidence in individuals who actually take up that course. So, in short, absolutely, undeniably, it definitely, hands down, is the best way to teach people. And the more we teach people this way of thinking, the better our education system is going to be, instead of it being a shit show that it is now. And that's all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So, bye.